Welcome to Esox Explorer. It's been a while, but good to be back. Today, bucktails, blades, spinners, whatever you want to call them. Let's think old school. Remember when inline spinners for Musky used to have only one blade? Well, if you take a look at a selection of bucktails at your local retailer, any of the big box stores, things like that that handle musky baits, take a look at the Musky shop online. Team Rhino Outdoors, Thorn Brothers, to just name a few of the bigger ones. Take a look at their selection of bucktails that they have, the inlines. The majority, not all, but the majority of the inlines they're going to carry are going to be two blades. That has been the trend now as far as the past many years is the multi-blade bucktails. And there's very few single blade bucktails available really anymore compared to what it was in the past. Which is actually good for some of us that still throw the singles, but yet it's something that you're definitely going to want to take a look at moving forward in your musky quest, as far as adding singles back into your game if you are not already doing it. But that's what we're going to be talking about today. And I think it's going to be bringing some pretty good insight to reasons why you may want to. And I've done a little bit of research on it as well, comparisons, things like that. So stay tuned. We're going to be talking about that today. Let's see. Single blade with feathers. Single blade with hair. Bucktail. Squirrel tail. Skunk tail. All sorts kind of hair. Some even gone to that faux hair, that fake hair and everything. Let's see. Single blades with rubber, now silicone skirting. Really never was super popular, but definitely one that you're going to definitely want to take a look at. Single blades with marabou, big feather dusters. Now along came tinsel. There's some companies that use tinsel. It was kind of the precursor to the flashabou now. So the single blades with some flashabou on it. Let's not forget all the different blade styles. Fluted, French, Indiana, Colorado, willow, hatchet, trilogy style with the three wings on it. The straight inline shaft, kind of the shaft through blade design. Then we go into double blades. Kind of a progression here. Went from singles, different tails, different makeup on those, and we get into double blades. Became very popular. And then also probably before that we went to different size blades. Size 5 French blade, and went to a Magnum French blade. Colorado blades and 8s were kind of a big one, popular one. Then they went to 10s. Oh man, those things were big. That's what everyone thought of at the time. Those were the big ones at the time. Then came 13s, 12s and 13s. Those are the kind of the garbage can lids, shall we call them, with those. We didn't stop there though. Now we decided that we're going to put two different size blades on a double bladed spinner. 1310, 10-9, 9-7, whatever companies did with those things. All different size blade combinations. Probably the most recent one has been putting different blades on the same bait, opposite of each other. Colorado with a fluted, Colorado with an Indiana. Just kind of use your imagination of what companies did with those things. So you kind of see this progression of changes that are taking place away from single blades. Gone all with the double-bladed styles, different variations of the blades and tails and things like that. probably the newest thing is the clevis that makes a noise. Um, Interesting concept. Kind of a cool concept, the way that works and everything. Then there's also a clevis on the market from a company that allows you to change blades. The double-bladed spinner, to change blades on a spinner at the right there in the boat. Colors, styles, sizes, however you want to change it, it allows you to do that. Plus, it does it'll change directions on spinning and things from what it showed in the water. Um, with all those changes and everything, you saw again that progression away from singles, doing all different stuff with double blades. I'm going to make a statement. Some of you are going to thumb your nose at that statement. Some of you might shut the video off right now and just say he's nuts, he's crazy, he's wrong. But if you think that, you may want to stay on and let's kind of see what we're going to talk about. Double-bladed spinners, double-bladed baits for musky. I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say that they're going to become a backup plan for many people. And why I'm saying that is I think you're going to see a lot of people trending back to that single blade, especially the guys that have been around a while, the newbies, the young guys, and things like that. You don't know really anything but double blades. There's nothing against you, because if you got into the musky world in the past 12 to 15 years, that's pretty much all you saw was double blades. So nothing against those guys or anything. That's what they swear by, is because that's pretty much all they knew. But make sure that you are not forgetting about those old single blades. If you agree with me on that, let's kind of stay tuned. Let's see if your reasoning is similar to mine. If you are thinking that I just piqued your interest as to, why is he saying that? Stay tuned, kind of see what you think about the reasoning that I have for that. And if you think I'm totally wrong, you completely disagree with me, you're a staunch supporter of double-bladed spinners, maybe you make them, maybe you have friends who are making them, maybe that's all you use and you've caught a bunch of fish on them. I've done it too. I've got boxes of double-bladed spinners as well. Not going to get rid of them, but they're another tool. A lot of guys forget about that singles. But if you completely disagree with me, you're probably going to hopefully stay on and say, okay, I'm going to find out where this guy is wrong so I can point it out and tell him that he's wrong. But if you get to the end, I don't know if you're really going to be able to poke too many holes in the theory behind this. No matter which group that you belong to, of any of those, I think I might be able to enlighten you a little bit and get you thinking, at least, as far as things that you may want to take into consideration. Open your eyes or reopen your eyes when it comes to the bucktail approach to your musky fishing. Muskie aren't dumb fish. The reason why they call them the fish of 10,000 casts. I think a little bit far-fetched, but I think what we can all come to assume, and by that saying, is that they're not an easy fish to catch. For some, lifespan of a muskie, 12 to 18 years. Like a human, some live longer, some don't live as long, but 12 to 18 years is typically the lifespan of a muskie. Okay, so you're thinking, okay, now what's he talking about? Anyway, he's not even talking about the spinners. But what I want to do is, this information is not directly related in talking about spinners, right? But it is about, or at least related to, spinners and the approach that you can take in your thought process when you're fishing these things and working at the fish on the tough days. As previously mentioned, why the changes in styles of spinners? Single blades, the different tails, makeups, combinations, going to a double blade, going to two size blades, going to whatever you want to take a look at and compare as far as the changes goes away from that single bladed musky bait. Basically what you're looking at is new mousetrap, a better mousetrap. Guys may not have been seeing the fish that they wanted to with the single blade, so they added another blade. Ooh, those things were lighting them up. Why? Something different vibration. They had been seeing the single blade. They had been feeling that vibration for that long a period of time. Remember, Musky had said 12 to 18 years. Okay. They hadn't seen those blades before, the double blades before. They haven't felt the vibration. Okay. Well, how can we do something different with those things? I can put two different size blades on. We can go bigger blades. We can go two different style blades. Again, making changes, making a better mousetrap away from the single blade. Guys have pretty much forgotten about the single blade. They're always, okay, what can we do to the double blades? What can we do to the double blades? Okay, that's been the big craze. Past 12 plus years has been the double blade Flashaboo and variations of it. Look at that. Guys are calling them Bucktails. Again, if you take a look at one of my other videos, Flashaboos to me are not Bucktails. Bucktails are Bucktails, Squirrel tails are Squirrel tails, whatever. But we're not going to sit here and split hairs in this video. But the double-bladed Flashaboos have been the thing for the last 12 plus years. Company that did those did one heck of a marketing job. Catch fish like crazy. I own a bunch of them. I custom order from the company, from a couple companies that I use those things for. But that's what majority of the musky fishermen are throwing, are those double blades, especially the double-bladed Flashaboos. You know, tell me that musky aren't going to become accustomed to the double blades like they might have been with the single blades? And that got me thinking too. So on a trip a few years ago, I started playing, and my hottest blade was a single bucktail, single bladed bucktail, big double length bucktail, the big one, tandems, but single blades. Met up with a guy. This story was back in another video as well. Long story short, I lit him up. He had his double-bladed Flashaboo on. I had my single-bladed bucktail on. Lit him up. I think it was a combination between the bucktail, which I addressed at that time, the bucktail. I didn't say anything about singles when I made that video, because I wanted to still kind of do some more testing, which I did this past summer. And the single blade. The following year, same area, went up, put the single blade on first, boom, 6 cast. I had got my biggest fish of the trip, single bladed bucktail. This past year, it was I was up there for 2 weeks. The first week I was alone, and I just wanted to, I had one rod with tandem blades and one rod with a single blade, and I had gotten into an area where I knew there were fish, went through it, and I saw one fish on this big drift on the double blades, And I thought, man, there's got to be more. This place didn't just die off as far as the fish goes. So I went back through, made another drift through there, but I put the single blade on. I proceeded to catch 3 fish and saw, I believe it was another 6 or 7 more, all on the single blade going through making that same drift. Within probably a half hour of starting and everything of that, fishing that area, the single blade was the ticket. I fished pretty much single blade, and I kept double blades, just kind of throw them, and single blade, man, I ended up boating that in 12 days. I boated 22 musky. That first week, I think, what I boat 12. It was 12 or 13 I boated the first week. And of those, one came on a bulldog, one came on a fat bastard on a topwater, and the rest came on, all but one came on single blades. All but 2 came on single blades. One came on a spinnerbait, and one came on double blade. Otherwise, the single blade was on fire. Fished with another gentleman. He came up at the end of that first week. Took him out to a spot. Said, "Here we go." He goes, "What are we doing out here?" I set up on the outside of a weed edge, drifted in. My first cast, I stuck one, and I proceeded just to stick. I ended up with 3 that night that I had caught, and it was all on singles. The following week, I had another gentleman up, and he didn't realize that he was going to be one of my experimental people. He was going to be a person that I was just going to let throw whatever he wanted to throw. He knew that I was throwing a lot of double blades and stuff, and that's pretty much all he had. Sorry, Kyle, if you're watching this, you probably watch this, but sorry, I'll talk on the phone and apologize, but to this day, he doesn't know that I used him as an experiment. I did boat 49 with him, in my second biggest of the trip. I had a 49 3/4 the first week on a single blade, but I let him throw whatever he wanted. He struggled. I threw double blades, just to kind of see about keeping him honest and everything. I didn't bring out single blades at all. And I was moving fish, and I caught some fish and everything on double blades on Thursday. That's all I did. Was I started throwing doubles. And Kyle was on fire. He had a hot stick in the back of the boat. He had some double blade fish going on a certain color that I introduced him to up there, and kind of showed him about choosing a color and everything for the given day, and why. Well, I didn't do anything else. I was like, well, I got to see if this works. So I put on a single blade, didn't pull out my single blades of my silicones that I had, but I pulled out one of my single blade Bucktails, and I proceeded to catch fish. I think I caught 3 fish that day, and I believe all but one, or of the 3, 2 out of the 3 were on singles, and I saw a pile of fish on singles. Saw a couple other fish on the double blades, but I just let Kyle have the hot hand and everything that day. So I got my single bladed fish going, and I didn't say anything to him. Sorry again, Kyle. But so there was a big thing right there. Green Bay, I've been doing the same thing out there. My best baits out there have been single blades as well. Moving fish on single blades, catching fish on single blades. I would almost say at least 4 to 1, 5 to 1 of what I'm seeing fish on single blades to double blades out there. You get into the community spots where you have all these guys going through and pounding. You watch them; they're either throwing big rubber or they're throwing big double bladed baits, spinners. So I follow them up with single blades, and I'm moving fish that they're not moving, and it's all on the single bladed stuff. So So there has been, I have done that bit of research, kind of the comparison and things like that for the past few years now, and I've really noted that. So it's not just one day and done. It's not one trip and done. It's not 1 month and done. No 1 year and done. It's multiple years, past 4 years. I've done that and everything. Um, Same thing was up on Lake of the Woods. Um, Single bladed copper red Meps Musky Marabou. Um, got my big one up there that year, 50 and a half. So, but definitely something you're going to want to take a look at are those single blades. We're going to get into even more reasons why, specifics. We're going to start touching on some of those things, but we're going to be getting into those here. Reasons to be throwing single blades. Take a look at some of those things. One, typically you're going to find that they're going to be less expensive. Blades aren't cheap, especially with after COVID and everything, cost of metal and things like that. They're getting more expensive. As you notice, they've gone up significantly in price. The labor part of it, you're going to be paying for that as well. Clevises, the solid beads, things like that, all adds into it. So, but typically your single blades are going to be less expensive. Another reason, when it comes to the fishing piece, they're easier to retrieve. Not going to burn you out. You can go all day long. It's so feels so nice when I can have my single blades on fire like they have been. And granted, yes, there are days where the double blades are the thing where I need to be throwing those, but single blades have done much better than a double blade for me as of the past several years. Less drag by the single blade on them. You're not going to get tired. You'll be able to stay focused. You'll be able to fish harder, fish smarter, and that's the biggest thing. Is I would rather fish smarter than work harder on those double-bladed baits and things like that. Even though they can catch fish, and they will catch fish. They're not going to stop catching. These double-bladed baits aren't going to stop catching fish. By no stretch of the imagination do I want you to think that that's going to stop, because it's not. But I think if you add your single blades to your arsenal and give those things an honest shot, I think you're going to find that you're going to be very pleased as to the production that you see as well. The single blades are easier on the equipment too, especially with guys going to these high speed reels and things like that. I had worked for Abu Garcia years ago, and I took a C4 up and high speed, the smaller gear, a lot of teeth on it. I had those things burnt out. I had a C4 burnt out in 3 days of fishing on Lake of the Woods. So if you're running a Abu Garcia 6500 C4, don't use that as your bucktail reel. Use that as like a glide bait, a twitch bait, jerk bait reel, maybe small to medium sized rubber reel, things like that, where you want to pick up the line a little bit faster, but don't use it as a bucktail reel. The low profiles now with that gearing, the little bit larger main gear on the side and everything, that's gonna be the way to go is when you go to that higher speed. But going 8+, I don't find a reason for that. Another reason for the single blades, fish haven't seen them. Remember, lifespan of a muskie, 12 to 18 years. And the most popular baits for the past 12+ years have been double blades, so they haven't seen a lot of singles. Guys want to do all these changing and with the single blade or with the double blades, with all that we had talked about, the different sizes, the different styles put together, things like that, the combinations. That's all well and good, but don't forget about throwing those singles in, because that is going to give you a completely different profile, a completely different vibration, completely different thump. So I mean that is going to be way to go. You're going to still give those fish something that you've never seen. Plus they're going to be a little bit less expensive. Different again, different vibration. Um, our stocking numbers, especially in the state of Wisconsin, the last couple of years have gone down. So I mean our fish are sticking around longer. Thank God for catch and release, and that's going up, and everything, people supporting that. But remember now, those fish are staying in our system longer. We're targeting the same fish. We're fishing Green Bay if we're out. I'm not giving away spots, but we're out. Let's say we're out on sharkfin. That's and tip of sharkfin out there, and you're throwing a double blade, and you've got another buddy in your boat, and you're not going to be the first boat to fish it that day probably. And I come in behind you. I'm gonna and I'm throwing a single blade. I'm throwing something completely different that they haven't seen from all the other people for the most part going through there. Um, so the more fish are around longer for us, which is a good thing, but we have to adapt. And guys are doing that by changing their double blades up when you actually could revert back to a single blade and accomplish the same thing cheaper and easier. Fishing conditions are changing. Clear water, Green Bay for that's kind of my home water. Um, if I'm in clear water now, especially with the zebra mussels, and a lot of our inland lakes are getting those things being transported by boats and stuff. It's going to happen, invasives. But if we're targeting that shallower, clear water, I'm going down to a single blade. A little bit more stealthier presentation, not quite as of aggressive style bait in that clear water, and I have found that the single blades have done far and away better than a double blade in that situation. Now, if I'm fishing deeper water, I'm going to go fish suspended fish. I'm going to go fish a deep water break, that 20, 30 feet of water. I'm going to go find my forage out suspended, and I want to cast a blade out there. Then I'm going to be throwing a double blade, track them in from distance away and things like that, because you don't have a weed bed typically out in 20 and 30 feet of water that you're fishing. So you want to draw those fish in, and you can do that with the double blades. Also, when you do that with a spinner bait, figure eight's the bomb. Spinner bait gives more noise and more vibration, things like that the fish haven't seen with something like that. So what do? We downsize. A lot of times we downsize, smaller blades. I typically don't go super small in the bait itself. I like sticking with probably nothing shorter than probably a 7-inch bait. Maybe a 6-inch bait in certain high pressure situations, but typically with that, smaller blades, fewer blades. So I mean that's when we're going with that. As far as reasons for downsizing your blades on your spinner, we just talked about them as well. Some may say that they want to invest in more baits. I guess the way I look at it is you're not investing in specifically baits, but you're investing in tools for musky fishing. If you don't have singles, then you're going to want to take a look at investing in those tools with the single blades. They should be less expensive, like I had said before, from companies. You might be seeing fish on double blades and saying, I don't need to do singles, things like that. But how many more fish could you be seeing, or could you actually be catching by adding or either adding the single blades into your arsenal or pulling them back out that guys may have not even thought about using them for a while, but switching up your approach to the musky fishing when you're throwing blades and things like that. you may be starting to find fish that you didn't think were there because you're throwing double blades and you weren't moving fish. Um, Good opportunity to do some testing next time you're out with a buddy and that's in there moving. It should be a blade bite. Most of the time, someone's going to be throwing a double blade. Put on a single blade, and you make the comparison. See what you see when it comes to that. But I think you'll be very happy with what you are going to witness by putting the single blades back in your arsenal. In fact, I think it's really going to open people's eyes um, if they were to do that. I'll end this, kind of wrap things up here by just saying, yes, I'm now affiliated with Figure 8 Lure Company, and proudly so. Um, Don has really taken the bull by the horns with this company and really in the last year expanded colors. The color combinations have just gone through the roof. The styles of baits, putting the double blades, everything that we have available in double blades is now available again in single blades, and they have been knocking it out of the park with those things. But there is a huge reason why we're offering the single blades in the same lineup as our double blades. The Big Daddy double blade, we're also doing that in the single blade. JT, Bubba, all of those are going to be offered in single bladed versions as well. We did add a number 9 fluted blade. If you're familiar with the Figure 8 line, which I hope you become familiar with it, we added a number 9 fluted blade. It's not a huge blade in the grand scheme of things, but it's a bigger size. We have 9s, 8s, and 7s. And the 9s are going to actually be in what we're calling the battle series. There's going to be four baits that have the number 9s on them in the battle series, and then our solo thumper spinner bait is going to be solo, going to be a single blade, and it's going to be the thumper is going to be the number 9 fluted blade. The solo probe is going to be the willow leaf, number 6 willow leaf that we have on the Boss series. But I encourage you and welcome you and invite you to check out the new Figure 8 website. It's www.fishfigure8.com. I'm going to put that right down here. Again, www.fishfigure8.com. You're going to see all different blades, different sizes, the styles and things like that, but really heavy on those fluted blades. And I have noted very much that my fluted blade success in my spinners far and away has been outproducing a lot of the other blades and things like that. So we don't offer the Flashaboo bucktail or anything like that. It's purely silicone skirting. Guys say, oh, it's rubber skirt, it's plastic. It's silicone skirting, very durable. Had one gentleman talk about the silicone being on a video being heavy. He hadn't thrown it yet, wasn't familiar with it, and said it was probably just going to sit there and not do much in the water. When you throw it and you see it, or you take a look at, I know the Musky shop does some of the videos, underwater videos, it's pulsating, it is flowing, it is alive. The blades do a really nice job of really bringing that silicone skirting to life. Very durable. The color selection is crazy good, especially with the the larger the tandems with 2 skirts on it. We were really played with the combinations and things like that, building some really nice ones. And we're not done. Honestly not done. We're looking at a couple different styles of inlines that we're playing with, and a few different colors in the skirts that we're playing with and taking a look at and seeing if it's something we want to pursue, and give them a shot and things like that. So, but throwing the single blades, even the double blades with the silicone skirting, you're giving them a completely different look when it comes to that, when it comes to the actual look part and the how it goes through the water. The blades, if you go with the single blade, you're giving them a different look, different vibration, with the blade part of it, plus a different look with that silicone skirting and things like that. So I think you're going to be very, very pleased getting your hands on some of those as well. Double blades, Flashaboo, Bucktail, all of those, they are not going to go anywhere. And I am by no means telling you to go away from them. I'm not going to be one of those companies that say you have to use our stuff because our stuff is the best and our stuff is the only stuff that's going to catch fish. I'm sorry. I'm an honest fisherman. The silicone skirting, there's going to be days where that's all they want. There's going to be days where the Flashaboo is going to be all they want. There's going to be days where Bucktail is going to be firing away what they want. Marabou at times is going to have its time and place. They're all tools. Again, they are all tools. The different blades, single blades, double blades, all the different tail makeups and things like that. I carry them all in the boat when I'm out in the water. Yeah, with Figure 8 and Lure Company, so we have silicone skirting. But I'm also a smart fisherman. I have my silicone, I have my Flashaboo, I have my Bucktail, and I have my Marabou, all with me every trip out that I have my blades with. So, but if you haven't tried the silicone skirting, if you haven't gone to a single blade, why not now? So I guess I'll end it right there. Single blades, take a look at them. Back to old school. Changes, but it's a revolving door. Give those single blades a shot if you have them. You pull them out of your box. If you're one of the new guys that doesn't have a whole lot of single blades, time to invest in some of them and things like that. So again, take a look at Figure 8 Lure Company. All the different lines that we have, different plates. I think we're at 26 different configurations in upwards of 56 colors that we've got in blades, tails, and things like that. So www.fishfigure8.com. Other than that, we'll see you next time. Hopefully it's not going to be quite as long. I've got some ideas on some new videos. So other than that, take care, and maybe we'll see you in the water.